There's finally sunshine in Pittsburgh. There's finally sunshine in Pittsburgh. I don't think that we've seen one nice day. I don't think we've had one nice day in Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas until finally something happened. We're in day, I guess, depending on when you started counting, we're either at day 11. Some people are saying 13, but we're surviving the coronavirus. I got all dressed up with no place to go. Since I have nowhere to go, I thought it's good to just sometimes just get up, get dressed, just do something, you know, just do something like you would normally do, even though the circumstances are different. But Pittsburghers, we have sun. I don't have to use all my lights. This is incredible. So welcome everybody back, and good afternoon to whoever is watching, to our friends in Chile that were watching yesterday, in India, and of course, all the people who are watching in this moment. I'm so appreciative that people are watching. I am a marriage and family therapist and mental health counselor, and people have been wondering, why have I taken such a outspoken stance on things during the coronavirus? And nobody else wants to talk about anything else. It's all my clients want to speak about. It's all speaking about with my friends and family. And so whatever people want to talk about, we are going to talk about. Now today, we are speaking about some very special issues. We're going to talk about kids and parents. And Lydia, are you signed on? Because my friend Lydia is, okay, I haven't seen her signed on yet, but when you're ready, we're going to talk to her a little bit. Lydia is my best friend we went to nursery school at the JCC together, and she's at home with 3 kids. And we were FaceTiming this morning, and she was taking a walk, and she inspired me to get out and take a walk with my dogs today, which was great. So if anyone tried to call me, Tia, that's you. I had my phone at home. I went for a walk, took a shower, and here I am. So I'm sorry I didn't get back to everybody. But thank you very much. So where should we begin? Let's begin. I want to start these shows every day that I'm doing them, because I'm coming out every day talking live. I want to talk about the mental health of the country, number one. I want to give a little bit of news, okay, from what's new. As you can see, I have all my notes on a napkin. Yeah, that's how professional I am. But I want to start out with a local business that either I have some association with, or that is someone in my life that's special, because all of the businesses are suffering so much right now. So you may have seen this on my Facebook page, or maybe you didn't, but my sister-in-law, Melissa Statlander. Melissa, are you watching? Please tell me if you're watching. Say something. Melissa, if you're watching, her Uncle Billy and Mary and her Aunt Mary, they have a beautiful chocolate company where they do the most beautiful handmade chocolates, and the chocolate's fantastic, and they are offering, it's called Park Street Sweets. So Park Sweet Streets, it's on Facebook. You can also message me or my sister-in-law Melissa if you want more information, but call there, ask for Uncle Billy or Mary, and order some chocolates for Easter. And what's even the most exciting part about this is that they are a local business here in the Pittsburgh area, but they're going to deliver. So if you are looking for some gifts to send to the family, but you don't want to go to their house, Park Street Sweets is delivering the most beautiful candies, and the chocolate's fantastic, anyone who's had it. So Park Street Sweets, everybody, go to their Facebook page. I think they're doing a really big sale this holiday season, so make sure that you check them out. So what's new in Corona world? Well, so far in Corona world, today there's not a whole lot new. I guess late last night, the government finally voted on the stimulus package for all of us, and we are going to be getting different amounts of money depending on our income. Some people will not be eligible for this relief, some will be. I'm very confused by what I've seen so far. So if anybody out there is watching and has a good understanding of what this new stimulus package means for all of us and how it's going to happen, please write on the page. What I understand so far is people who make $75,000 or less will get a larger check, I think of a couple $1,000s. You get less the more you make. Then there's billions of dollars in the stimulus package for small business loans. But those loans, I believe, for the most part, have to be paid back at some point, but the government will forgive a certain amount of these loans, and I don't understand how it works. I know that as of today, there's over 3 million people who applied for unemployment. Those are really scary numbers. And we still are all debating what's the best thing for the country. We're still debating, do we want to stay home a little more? Do we want to get back out and turn this economy back on? And everybody has very different views and opinions, and I love hearing everybody's viewpoints. I made my viewpoints pretty clear. I would like to go back to work as soon as possible with, of course, without putting anybody in any danger, and I wouldn't want to do it without that being the case. To some degree, obviously, and that it would be a slow process, and the areas that have less cases would be able to go first, and then obviously the areas that are the hardest hit are not going to be able to do that. New York City, Los Angeles, Seattle, my heart goes out to all of you, and death tolls are rising in the New York hospitals. That I have seen. So it's really starting to become, I guess, a little more real as time goes on. I mean, I think at first we were in such shock that we didn't know where this was going to go, and we still don't. And although there's been some, positive breakthroughs with all of this, it's still very scary. We still don't know how bad this is going to get, and everybody seems to have a different view of where it's going. And now we're fighting about that, and we're fighting about politics, and we're fighting about all kinds of things, which I wish we wouldn't do, because I really wanted this show to be a voice of reason, to be a safe place where, even if you have different views and opinions of other people, that would be okay to say them here. I've been getting a little political-ish, which I don't normally do, in the past couple of days, and people seem to be responding very well to that. So to that point, I have a point. I shouldn't be a point of controversy, but apparently it's pretty horrific. And I don't know whether any of you know this story or not, but a colleague of mine who is a member of the LGBTQ community, she posted something this morning on Facebook that was very disturbing. And what she posted, it was an NBC News story. So that's the source. It came from NBC News. I have not investigated the story to, journalistically where it should be. But basically, the story was reporting that the Reverend who does Bible studies or prayer groups for the cabinet of the president. President Trump does not attend these, but it's for certain cabinet members. And I don't know which cabinet members go or which don't. But this Reverend who teaches the presidential cabinet Bible study wrote a pretty horrific, in my opinion, blog, and NBC News, I guess, discovered this blog. And basically, I did look at the blog. I did go to look at his blog, and I didn't read the whole thing. I skimmed through most of it. But basically, the essence of his blog is he's saying, why is Corona happening to our country? Why is this happening? And he was talking about the wrath of God, and I don't know, he broke it up into 5 different sections. To me personally, it seemed like a bunch of blah, blah, blah. I mean, it didn't even really make sense to me. I'm not a big super into the Bible, but anyway, he was quoting certain passages and then interpreting it. And he did have a giant section saying that basically the gay community, because it's so sinful, it's a whole section, you can read it yourself if you go to the blog, is like one of the reasons that God's wrath has come upon us and given us this coronavirus. Now, the problem with this is, so huge. I mean, I don't know where to go with this, but the big problem to me is, why is the president's cabinet, or like, who hired this guy? Like, has he been there forever? His name is, I think he was once a professional basketball player. His name is Dollinger, something, Reverend Ralph Drollinger. And he was asking in his blog, is God judging America today? And he broke it. He said something also about environmentalists, and I really didn't understand the whole thing. I don't know, I'm a Jew from Squirrel Hill. I didn't totally understand what he was saying, but there was something about how animals and all other things are less than man, because man was created in the image of God, and all other things are less than, and we shouldn't be wasting our time worrying about the environment. And forgive me, because honestly, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but it was very offensive. And who hires this guy? How does this guy get the job as the advisor to the president's cabinet when our country is made up of so many different groups? I don't get it. And he also mentioned something in his blog, like people who don't believe in God, like that's, such a terrible sin. And, I don't know who has the authority to judge that. I mean, he's not God himself. And aren't men of God supposed to be all loving and guide us towards goodness? And this guy is clearly making some really, just hateful statements. I mean, I don't know. I would fire him personally, but whatever. I guess that's up to the White House cabinet. And, I mean, this guy was bold. He put it right in writing. You can see it. He clearly believes it. He doesn't seem to care. And, I just, if it was up to me, he'd be gone today. But I don't have that kind of power. So maybe you guys can start a conversation online about that. But it's on NBC News. If you, I'll make sure I post it on my page so everybody can look at it. And, again, I didn't study his blog. I read it. His response to NBC News inquiries about it was that they had misinterpreted it. And I read it, and I don't think there's any misinterpretation there. I mean, it's in black and white in his words with his name, and I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so let's see. Yeah. So, okay, so this is so disheartening to hear, says a viewer. These extremists on both sides aren't doing anything but making a bad situation worse. Well, that's for sure. And, I just wanted to bring that up because, come on, guys. I mean, who hired this guy? Really? Okay, so let's move on. Moving on to today's topic. I want to talk about kids and parents at home because I was inspired by my best friend, Lydia. She's watching. Lydia and I went to preschool together. We went kindergarten to 8th grade together, and then we went to different high schools. But we stayed friends for, oh my gosh, we're 44. We've been friends for 40 years. And she has 3 children. She's an incredible mom. She's so creative and so caring and protective of her children. And I've always admired that about you, Lyd. And, Lydia and I, growing up together, we definitely had our times of adolescent anxiety. And, we thankfully grew out of it, but we know what it feels like. And, yeah, Lyd, I love you. So get ready because I want to hear from you. So I thought maybe Lydia would be the perfect person. Unfortunately, we can't have her here in person because I don't know how to, I'm still trying to figure out how to video somebody in. But I wanted, Lyd, what are you doing with your kiddos? I know you've been, Lyd, you've been quarantined and you have some, some reasons that you definitely want to be very careful. You have little children, etc. And I know you've been in the house for a couple weeks. How's it going at home with the kids? Because you always come up with so many creative ideas and things to do. One of the things I saw that was so cute, Lyd and I FaceTimed this morning as she was walking around her neighborhood, and her youngest, who is so cute, she was all dressed up in this outfit, and she looked like kind of Punky Brewster, and I got to see her little cute shoes and her hat and her pink hat, and the kids just, they're just following mom, taking a walk. What's going on, Lid? Can you type in and let us know what's happening? Or maybe you did and I'm not saying it. Let's see. Nope, haven't heard from you yet, Lid. Okay, she has a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So right there, Lid's got her hands full, and they're great kids. They really are. They're beautiful, and they're sweet, and they're polite. And how are your kids always dealing? How are you handling this with your children? We do lots of things, stay safe, and have fun at home. How do you manage that? Because so many of my clients, Lid, are not managing as well. They are getting into a lot of fights, with their significant others. They're running out of things to do. They're having to do things at home, being a teacher with the children that are on distance learning. And, I'm getting a lot of those panicked phone calls from people with children that have been stuck in the house that are, just afraid of their families getting this. So I just want to hear some of the things that you're up to. We bake, we do crafts, we watch videos. What kind of videos are you watching with the kids? I think that's a great idea. I baked chocolate chip cookies last night. I probably haven't baked chocolate chip cookies in I don't know how long. And we clean. It's tough though. Okay, what are some of the tougher parts for you as a mom? If you don't mind answering that question, because I think a lot of the other moms would probably relate to this. Steve, hi Steve. Hi Jen. So we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about moms and kids and parents and, being at home with everybody 24/7 and what's it like for everyone, what's everybody doing. And Lydia was, she's such a, I know it's hard to type quickly. Hi Franco, ciao Franco in Italia. I know it's hard to type quickly, but you take your time, Lyd, and I'll keep talking away. So Lydia really inspired me to get out of the house today because I've been working from home and, you get kind of lazy. So I decided to go out and I took my dogs and I put them in a little stroller and I ran in my neighborhood on a trail and it was gorgeous and I actually bumped into some friends. So thank you for Lyd making me get out of the house today. It was beautiful. And I really enjoyed myself being outside. And I saw all these people were out with their kids and they're biking and they're walking along the trail. And it's finally a beautiful day in Pittsburgh after this whole, shelter at home thing has been going on. It was finally beautiful today. And everybody was so excited to just be out. And I saw families out together and I saw couples out together and everyone was laughing at my dogs because instead of walking, they were in the stroller and I was jogging with them in there. And it was so much fun. And I thought, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe as a culture, we relied too much on things to entertain us. And why can't we go back to the basics and be happy with just that? Because I'm starting to find out that I don't mind so much at all. Lyd, we try to eat breakfast together, then start our day with a walk outside. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. I think that's so important. That's kind of what I'm getting to. I felt so much better just moving my body. And, one of the things I've been recommending therapeutically to all my clients is to get the body moving. Whether you are, not a big exerciser, get out and walk anyway. Walk around the block, move the body. Turn on, if you have Comcast cable or the internet has all kinds of, you can go to YouTube and you can get all kinds of wonderful yoga classes at any level. You can get exercise classes, but move that body because when you are stationary, it tends to build day after day and we get into a slump and there's not much to do, so it's easy to grab food. So let's go back to Lydia and see what else advice she has for us. We walk outside. The older kids have schoolwork to do, so they do that in the morning when we get home. The little one plays dress up. This is for Nina. I wore this dress for Nina, by the way. Puzzles, we read books, we bake something, we listen to music and paint pictures, we call friends on FaceTime. Lyd, that's awesome. So she's giving us so many great ideas. And Lyd's always been super creative mom. She bakes all of her own birthday cakes, and she always comes up with all these fabulous ideas. And so I think that, but it sounds to me like, Lyd, that you are really structuring the day, which is so smart, because I always tell people before coronavirus, kids need structure and kids need discipline. They need to know what to expect. They need to know what the rules are, because it actually makes them feel less anxious and better. So if you can keep your children and yourself on a routine, even though there's no school, I think Lyd's got the right idea. That's a recommendation. Get up and get dressed. I did today. I have nowhere to be. I don't have a ton of clients today, so I figured, I'm going to go out and just act like I'm going to work. And I know a lot of people who work from home do that anyway. So that's something to think about. Get out and move your body, get your kids on a schedule. I don't have children, but I'm trying to help my sister with her kids. I found some paint by number canvases for them and some old school board games. We are trying to get them away from their electronics. Fantastic idea. Another viewer writes that, and I'm an auntie too, that she's taking her paint by numbers projects over to the kids. You might have to order a lot of these things on Amazon, but it is possible to find things. And Bella, can you tell us where you found those things, like where people can buy some of that stuff? Hi, Lisa Saxon. How's the new baby? I'm not super structured, but we do set expectations for what needs to be accomplished each day. Okay, so Lyd, do you get up and talk to your kids and say, okay, guys, this is what's going on today. We're gonna bake this afternoon. We're gonna do a walk in the morning. Just want to hear what you're doing. I know that when I do my relationship show, which I wish nobody seems to be remotely interested, it's just Corona, baby. But when I did do my relationship show, my producer, Tia, she also has her own live show that she does for moms. It's a moms group, and it's just a place where moms talk about mom stuff, and it's awesome. And Tia also is very creative and has great ideas. And if you're watching, Tia, let's hear what you're up to. It's dinner each night. We decide what the plan is for the next day. Okay. See, everything I'm hearing from Lydia, I love, because parents, what's so great about this is because we've been talking about anxiety for the past couple of days. And if this is the first time you're watching, I'm sorry to, I'm going to say it again. If you've heard this a million times, I'm sorry to be repetitive. But when we are anxious, it's because we feel unstable, because we don't know what's going to happen. And so we have no control over the future. And then we're focusing on that future of unknowing, if that makes any sense. So if you're not focused in the present and you're focused in the future, and you have no idea what to expect, that is very anxiety provoking. And just imagine how it feels for children. So if you can get out there and set a schedule and let the kids know that each day you're going to have something planned for them, that's what makes a stable household, even in these times. And that might be really hard to do. And I'm not saying you have to run it like a boot camp. But I think that, what I'm learning from Lydia is that even when there's no structure, you can make structure. And I think even there's something for us adults to learn from that in our adult lives, as well as with the kids. But Lyd, thank you so much. Stick around. I love you, and I love you, Lyd. The older kids have a lot of access to the news and see some of the bad things happening there, but the little one is blissfully unaware. She just loves that we are all here and around her all the time. So another good point, the little kids really have no idea what's going on. Hi, Jim Jackson. I'm going to ask you to type in a minute because you are the fitness trainer, and so don't go anywhere. Jim Jackson is a professional fitness trainer and a dear friend of mine, and I love him dearly. And so if you want to get some advice, Jim, don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're going to finish up with the kids and parents. So we're hearing provide structure, almost like a day camp in a sense. You know, just get all kinds of fun, creative projects to do, coloring, painting. Did I say baking already? Bake different things. Do some online cooking classes. FaceTime with someone in your family who has a talent that maybe your kids don't know about, like watercolor. We can watch Aunt Liz watercolor, which I can't watercolor, but so thank you so much, Lyd, for your advice and your input, and I hope you stick around. Jim, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So Jimmy, you're a professional trainer, and before you tuned in, one of my best girlfriends, Lydia, her and I were talking, and she really motivated me to get outside today and get moving. And you know, I think that I felt so much better after I did it. And so many people, parents and kids, are cooped up in the house. Lydia just gave us tons of great ideas of ways to keep the kids, you know, occupied and to kind of structure the day and let them know what's upcoming so that anxiety doesn't set in on the kids. Jim, do you have anything that you can any ideas for us as far as keeping our bodies moving, keeping our immune system up, which I've been talking about every day on the show, but yet we're not hearing about that on the mainstream news media, which makes me upset because, you know, it's something that we can do that's in our control. And I think exercising is part of that. So I'll give Jimmy a second I put him on the spot to see if he can type in. And Lydia, your final comment: structure, but be sure to show yourself some grace. I am not a professional teacher. No, but we do have a professional teacher watching, so if she feels like chiming in, she can. Lyd, but you're so good at what you do, and I thank you so much. Hi, Chris. Hi, Tia. Okay, I started this watch party for you on my account, so I guess my comments weren't coming through. No, they were not. Okay, Jimmy. Tia, you should pay attention to Jimmy. Start with as simple as a wall to begin the ball roll on. Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, I hadn't thought about that. So you need one of those big, do you need like a big ball kind of thing? Or do you need a little one? Let's see what happens. Well, it takes a minute for people to be able to write in. So while Jimmy's typing, Tia, I know something that you were worried about was eating too much while we are, you know, just all at home with nothing to do, and the kitchen's right there, and everybody wants to eat. I know I always eat out of boredom. Okay, let's see. Jimmy's talking to us. Walk. Oh, okay. Walk to begin the ball rolling. Got it. Okay. But you can also use the wall and do squats with the ball, right? We can do that too. I wonder, Jim, I'm going to give you a call after this, and maybe we can figure out some way to do a show together, because you could come on the show in some regard, whatever you're comfortable with, to help give people some good ideas about exercising at home. But in the meantime, walk, which Lyd and I talked about earlier. I felt so much better. Then take the walk to a jog, add sprints, get on a bike. Okay, I don't have a bike. I was thinking of buying one, although I don't want to put out too much money right now for anything because we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, if anyone has a bike they're not using, let me know. Okay, that's a great idea. So, yep, I was going to go through clothes, but I feel like that's pointless at this point. Okay, so you're worried about... So, Jim, maybe also after you give us some information about how we can, you know, exercise and do things at home to get the blood moving and so we don't feel so icky from being at home all the time, and how good exercise is so good for anxiety. And that's, you know, although there's hardly any, I don't know why, I'm getting social here again, but why does the news media not ask us, mental health counselors, marriage and family therapists, psychologists, like, why are we not being consulted? Why are all the major news stations, they had one of them, I can't remember who I was watching, but they had a psychiatrist on. Okay, now a psychiatrist does not do counseling. They prescribe medication, but they were on, and this guy was on, psychiatrist. I'm sure he's very good at what he does. And his bullet point of what to do psychologically for all of this was all the stuff that all of us have been talking about on this show for the past 2 weeks. We already can figure out, exercising is important. He put exercise, eat healthy, stay connected to friends. But he didn't really give us any tools. No one's really giving us tools to address the actual family issues and mental health issues that are going on in families right now. And so if you didn't address the problem, he didn't give us any solutions. So let's see what some of our viewers are saying. Structure is good for kids, but it's important for adults as well. Isn't that the truth? I need to get back into routine. Me too. And we'll talk about that later. Not working makes it easy to fall out of your routine and get lazy. That is true. And that's why I'm so thankful that Lyd got me, because I've been a gym rat almost my whole life. And I don't know, since this has all been going on, I have not been exercising very much. I did yoga like maybe twice. And so to get out today and move my body was so much fun, and I felt so much better. And, I have no routine now. I don't know who's calling for sessions. Every day it changes. Like yesterday I had almost a full day of clients. I don't know why. Today I have nobody. I have a couple, so people just call and I take whatever they need. So it's so hard to say. And one of my colleagues, Leanne, what's up, my love? You just got on here. Jim Jackson, give me a call and we can put something together that anyone can follow. It doesn't take much to make significant progress. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm going to call you as soon as I'm done with this, but please stick around in case some more fitness questions come up, and maybe we can have Jim really participate, and we could do like a really fun, stay-at-home workout show. I would love to do that. Leanne, just so you know, you just tuned in, but I addressed at the beginning of the show, I addressed the NBC News article that you posted, and just how disgusted I was about what I read, because I went ahead and I read I skimmed through his entire blog, and I think that guy should be fired immediately. Who cares what I have to say, but I'm just putting it out there that I think it's terrible that the cabinet uses this guy. I mean, maybe they didn't even, I don't know if they knew, if they didn't know that he thought like this, but let's get a new reverend, not someone who writes openly, hatred to so many people. So I'm just so glad that you posted that this morning. Okay, so Nina just came to me and said to the screen, and she loves your dress. I wore it for you, Nina, because you look so beautiful this morning. I wanted to wear a colorful dress because I knew you'd like it. And you can have all my clothes when I pass on. Anyway, we don't think about that. I'm too young yet. Oh, okay, did she? She misses her boyfriend. I know, don't we all miss each other? I mean, I really miss seeing all my friends and family, and I miss my clients. I don't get to see them. I haven't seen a lot of my clients in 2 weeks. So if you're just tuning in, we're focusing today on kids and parents and dealing with all of that pent up energy and anxiety of, trying to figure out what's going on day to day, trying to, let our children know what's happening, but age appropriate, which for Lydia was probably very challenging because she has kids that are all different ages across the board. She's got 2 teenagers and then a little one. So the little one is probably just having a great time and has no idea what's going on. And my dogs are loving this. I mean, they're just getting all my attention. So it's great, but it's scary for the older kids sometimes who don't know. Now, our friend from India had just joined us. Hello, Kuntal, and you're totally locked down. And it's so boring. Well, I'm glad that you chose to tune in to Liz Live today. And I'm trying so hard to be a positive place to go, to be a therapist who can give advice if anyone has questions. Trying to focus each day on a specific topic because there's so many topics. So throughout the last 10 or 11 days, we've been talking about the news media making us anxious and limiting our time on the news because they are being drama queens to the max, which one of my friends pointed out to me the other night that maybe in some ways that's a positive because it's scaring us and it's making us really stay home. That's a good way of looking at it. But for a lot of us, it's especially those of us with a lot of anxiety, it can just make your anxiety go up here. When you hear about people dying constantly and you hear about people getting sick, that makes people anxious. And then I know for me, when I hear that, then I start thinking like, oh my God, am I next? Because you don't know. And so I'm trying to be really precautious and socially conscious and stay home, but it's definitely a scary time. We've also in the past 10 days talked about financial issues. We've talked a little bit about politics. I try to stay away from politics, but people seem to love to talk about it. So one of my friends just joined who I need your expertise a little bit, if you don't mind, Chad, because I, in the beginning of the show was talking about what's new with the coronavirus. And we've been talking about kids and parents this show and how to, come up with some structure, even though there is no structure. But one of the things that I was reading all your posts last night, and I'm trying to understand this new stimulus package and how it works. And you seem to have a little bit of knowledge about it, and I have zero. I'm very confused. So I did read your post last night. So if you feel like it, if there's anything you can share, I know that there's a different amount of money that's going to people who make $75,000 and less. And then I believe that people who make between 75 and 99 will get a different amount, $500 per kid. I mean, is that all levels of socioeconomic status that get money for their children? Or I'm just so confused. And then self-employed people like myself, I'm not planning on filing for anything, God willing, but are we involved in any of this? If we're, self-employed, if we're business owners, what's the cutoff? I don't know. If anybody knows, Chad, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but if anyone can explain any of this, because it is new and we're still learning about it, and I'm jumping all over the place, but it might be interesting to talk about. So going back to parents and kids, I don't have children. And so on these topics, although I love children and I love my niece and nephew who I miss so much. And if they're watching, Shane and Blake, I miss you guys. I can't wait to hug and squeeze you in person. But if you're just tuning in, I asked my friend Lydia, my best friend Lyd, she's a wonderful mom and she's very creative. And I asked her to let us know what's going on over at her house because she has so many great things happening over there. What about everybody else? What's everybody else doing with all their kiddos? It's hard, but you almost have to schedule like a full day of camp to keep the kids, from not going crazy, because children have so much energy and they're not used to the changes of being at home and going to school from home. And the kids are working on something fun right now. What are they working on, Lyd? And it's like, what are your little ones? I know my niece and nephew are little, and my sister-in-law said, no, they definitely know what's going on, but they have, my son asked for a giant trampoline for our yard last night. Hey, if you get that, can I come over and jump on it? We do puzzles and build Lego sets. This is advice from Tia, another mom. We set goals, and once they reach them, we have free time. Love all these ideas for those parents watching with children. And I, as a therapist, I definitely concur that we need structure for all of us. And I think Bella mentioned earlier that adults need structure too. And we do. And I feel like I love structure. I love going to the gym at a certain time, working out at a certain time. And now We can't do any of that. So what's everyone out there doing? So Lydia said, so he said he and his sisters needed to put a Prezi. That's like a PowerPoint on why we should get one. I think that's a good idea. And maybe I could be on the decision panel. So the three of them are researching and writing and organizing the presentation. That's awesome. My niece in Florida, when she wanted to get a dog, my brother was kind of against it, and she wrote a PowerPoint for him about why she should get a dog, and I thought that was the cutest thing. So I love when kids do that stuff. It shows so much ingenuity and creativity. They're going to be presenting it tomorrow. That's great. I can't wait to hear about it. Lyd, I hope you'll keep us updated on, what's happening and what's going on. So how many people, maybe by show of likes for the viewers, how many people are having trouble with their spouses? And if you're not writing, I can't see who's watching. So I don't know who's saying what, but I'm just wondering if anyone's having marital problems because everyone's at home and they're on top of each other and probably sitting around and drinking at night, or just don't know what to do for a lot of people. I'm personally enjoying the quiet, but I know everybody is not like that. So let me know if you guys are having any marital or relationship problems. Lydia said it took about 90 minutes to vacuum the car. How do you think this situation will affect kids in the long term? Okay, that's a big question. I think that just like us, kids will never forget this time. I think that the littler ones will probably remember this as a fun time. For the most part, I think that the older kids, like maybe between 10, 11 through teenager, are going to remember this as a weird and annoying time. I know my niece in Florida she's a 12th grader, and her commencement ceremony was canceled. I have a couple of seniors that are my clients, and they're in the same situation. So kids are thinking like, well, I'm not going to get my diploma. I'm not going to be a part after all these years of school. It's no prom. There's a lot of loss involved for the older kids. They're not seeing their friends. They're not allowed to be around their friends for the most part. So there's a lot of loss that kids are dealing with. And I think it's up to the parents and the adults in our communities to, get creative and try and assure them that they are being taken care of, that we love them, and that this is temporary. This is only temporary. And maybe the schools, once all this passes, maybe the schools will, in the fall, we'll have the commencement ceremonies and the proms. I really don't know at that point if the kids will care. I know that the college age kids, I have a couple nephews in school, and we're all sent home, and so they're at home with their parents, and they want to go out, and the parents don't want them to go out, but then they're too old to really be controlled. So, handling that is a whole nother stressful situation. So let's go to some viewers and see what they're saying. So one of my colleagues, Leanne, she said, I think part of the problem is that and she's also a therapist, guys, so listen up. And if you are in the South Hills area and you're looking for a therapist, she is absolutely phenomenal. I give my stamp of approval, and I can tell you how to get in touch with her. I think part of the problem is that there are no rules on what to do because this has never happened. Totally playing in, sometimes I can't see the whole thing here, because this has never happened. And she's right. I mean, this is new territory. It's new territory for parents, for children, for therapists. I mean, I'm a therapist, but I'm still human, and I'm trying, again, to keep therapy going the way that I can through these live shows, but it's not the same as sitting one-on-one or one-on-two when I work with couples and getting into the nitty-gritty of people's lives. I miss doing that to the normal volume. And this is all new territory. So we're just pulling things out of the air. We're getting creative as a community and we're coming up with ideas. Have fun with it. Absolutely. Okay, here's another mom friend of mine. I think parents' schedules being changed right now is difficult, but talking is key. Keep the line of communication, I'm sure you're saying open, because my Facebook will not let me, they will not let me open that. So I think what you're saying, Lisa, is keeping the communication open with your partner. So I know that a lot of people who are first responders or in law enforcement, they're working like mandatory 7 days and they're on the front lines of this. And then their families are at home waiting for them and probably being concerned, are they going to be exposed and could they possibly bring that home? So I think that the intensity for families that have a doctor, a nurse, police officers, first responders, I think it's really, really scary for the families of those people. And again, I'm always available. And if you are a family member of a first responder, I will give you a huge discount. Okay, huge, because I am so thankful to what your spouses are doing for this country right now. And I thank everybody out there. I want to send a little hello to my cousin Kevin Statlander, who is a hospitalist. He's a doctor. Does internal radiology, and I saw his pictures on Facebook. They're all masked up, and thank you to all the physicians and nurses. I have a lot of clients as well who are nurses and police officers and physicians that are dealing with this on the front line, and their families have twice the burden to handle that any of us do. So thank you for that. And yes, talking with your spouse is key. Let's see, what else? I think in the long run, the kids who remember this time will become incredible problem solvers. Great positive thing to add. I think you're right, because we have to get so much more creative right now than ever before. And they have to learn how to adapt to the changes. And so I think you're right. I think they'll be great problem solvers. I think they'll be maybe more adaptable and more flexible to answer the question of how will kids change, in the long run. So these are just such great comments. I'm having so much fun. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Some of the best, most innovative ideas come about when what seems like the most inopportune times. Isn't that the truth? I agree that talking is key. My husband and I try to ask the kids regularly how they are feeling. Hi, Jim Plunkett. Grocery store clerks are on the front lines too. Thank you. You are right about that, Lyd. And I was thinking about that when I was at Whole Foods the other day, and the way that they socially distanced us, and all of these people that are making things run. And you're right, it's the people in the pharmacies. I went to pick up my extra medications yesterday to make sure I have them. And they're there with masks on, and everyone's talking and asking everyone else how they're doing. And we have the grocery clerks, the truckers of America, all of the businesses that are contributing to making ventilators and surgical masks. Thank you all so much. I know the media loves to highlight the negative. I wish they would focus on how people are reaching out and helping other people. Me too. I was thinking today, I saw a neighbor who, she's kind of in the elderly population, and I just said, hey, if you need anything, you just come knock on my door and I'll go get you groceries. And it made me feel so good to do that. And I think that if I didn't do the show every day, I don't know what I would do, because I like to feel like I'm contributing to society in some way. So I think that we all feel better when we're contributing to the welfare of other people. And it's such a crazy time politically. And I noticed that on Facebook, there's some real craziness going on. And Our kids, our teenage kids are on Facebook. So what are they seeing? So I think as parents, we can ask them about that. CNN has an e-newsletter called The Good Stuff. It's a nice read. Okay, that's another great idea. Sign up for that. And Tia, Papa Jazz, who I know is watching, she started for us Pittsburghers, but anyone can do it no matter where you are, called Pittsburgh Positive. And it's a hashtag PGH Positive. And hashtag Pittsburgh Positive, if you put that into your posts, at the end of your posts, you post when something positive is happening, and you do that, and then all of the hashtags, and I know Lydia's laughing hysterically at me right now because I'm like barely know what hashtags are, but you hashtag and then you put them in, and all these positive Pittsburgh things come up. So Pittsburgh Positive. So, and CNN has a positive newsletter. Thank you for that, CNN, because I don't see too much of that happening on the news. So, yeah, I mean, I think parents are charged with some ways being a therapist. So right now, the parents in America are being asked to be therapists. They're being asked to be teachers. They're being asked to be leaders. They're being asked to still do all the regular things that all parents do. They're still being asked to be providers. And in light of all the parents being asked to be therapists, most of us aren't professionally trained to do that. And even us professionals who are trained didn't study this in school. I mean, we didn't study some kind of national crisis in school. Maybe they'll add that to the curriculum for us. So we are trained for crises. We are trained in, well, I am trained, I'm a marriage and family therapist and a mental health counselor. So I'm trained to work with, specifically with couples and families, which is kind of a different modality and different, kind of a different type of therapy than individual. And I'm also, have a degree in individual. So, looking at things through that lens and looking at all the roles that parents are being asked to play right now is very, very difficult. And then you have to decide, depending on what age your children are, how to talk to them and explain to them what's going on. Because clearly a 4-year-old, you can't talk to a 4-year-old the way you would talk to a 16-year-old. Because 16-year-olds, they get it. They're on social media, they're watching the news, they have their own anxieties and fears. So talking is key. Maybe every night at dinner, you can have like a family meeting. How's everybody doing? How's the anxiety levels? And if you know someone's really struggling in the house, you can have them give me a call, or you can teach them deep breathing. You can take them out for a walk, give them some special attention. And as Mr. Rogers would say, in times of crisis, you have to tell children not to worry, that you will take care of them. And I think that's a very beautiful message for the children out there. Parenthood definitely has a spotlight on it right now, but we can only do what we can do, and we need to keep perspective. Show yourself some grace. No one has done this before. No one is perfect. Thank you, Lydia. And she's right. I mean, I've never done this before. I've dealt with suicidal people. I've dealt with the craziest and crazy of all couples and beautiful couples and everything in between, but I have never dealt with a nationwide shutdown because of the fear of a virus. And I've never been in my lifetime a part of something like this. And I'm using my notes as my handkerchief now because I'm done with them. I think that parents need to stick together and share ideas with each other, and social media is a great way to do that. I love the ideas that Lydia, yeah, she's right, it's a worldwide shut. It's not just here, it's all over the world. It's pandemic. So this is such a new thing, and so we are all doing the best that we can. I think that, yes, look for the helpers. That's what Mr. Rogers said. Look for the helpers. And I wanted to does anyone else have any other ideas? But I think that parents have such a heavy burden on them right now, and we need to support each other, and we need to share with each other what our experiences are, what we're doing. And I want this to be a format to do just that. And we'll do more of these. I mean, I'm going to be here every day as long as, who knows, this goes on. Started out in the beginning of the show trying to give out, I want to give one shout out to a local business every day. And I don't have one for tomorrow, so if you want to, write me and tell me what your business is, I will talk all about you tomorrow. But today's business is Park Street Sweets. They are a handmade chocolate company. They are part of my sister-in-law's family. My sister-in-law Melissa's Uncle Billy and his lovely wife Mary. They own a beautiful chocolate store, chocolate factory. They're local right here in Pittsburgh, and they are offering some serious discounts with delivery for this upcoming holiday season. I was thinking of doing it just to my friends who I know are having a hard time, or who are parents and just need a little pick-me-up. How about to the elderly people in your neighborhood, the gift of chocolate? I mean, come on, it makes me happy all the time. I don't know if there's other chocolate lovers out there, but you could send it to, just a little surprise and not even sign your name, and send it to an elderly couple or a person in your neighborhood that is alone. A lot of people are alone and isolated, and this is, so sad for them. I hope it didn't shut me off. I want to end on one more thing. One of my dear friends, he wrote this book called Rare Confidence, and I think this is a time when we really need confidence. And so many people are laid off right now. So many people don't know, where their next pay is coming from, or how the stimulus package is going to work. And if you want to get a copy of Rare Confidence, email me or message me, and I will send one to you. And there is a charge. I don't know what that is. I have to ask the author, who is my friend, and he is a local author right here in Pittsburgh, right in Squirrel Hill. So Rare Confidence, get some. It's a great book. And we're almost running on an hour here, so I think we covered pretty much everything. We did the news of the day, which was the stimulus package, although I don't understand it yet, and I'm working on that. We had Lydia Kaplan, blank, here. My best friend, who we used to laugh and say one day we'd be like Oprah and Gail, maybe it's really happening. But anyway, so she's an amazing mother, and I've always admired her mothering skills and her commitment to her children, and the way that she's so creative and so caring. And, we've been through so much in life together, everything together. We've been friends since we were 4, and I've watched her bloom into this wonderful mom. And I knew that you would be a great addition to today's conversation. Don't forget about Tia's Pittsburgh Positive, hashtag Pittsburgh Positive, hashtag PGH and the word positive. Put that in after your post and join her movement for positive things going on in Pittsburgh. Park Sweet Treats. And we also did another business yesterday, which is Layla Marie Salon in Greensburg. These are all locally owned in the greater Pittsburgh area businesses who need your business and need your help. Today I went into Leone Pet Supply, which is a locally owned pet store, and I went there and I got my dog some treats, because I felt instead of going to a larger corporate store, not that they're not awesome too, I decided to give local businesses, because I know that they're really struggling. So Leone Pet Supply is another business here in Murraysville area. It's a great pet store. I got my dog some treats and some summer outfits, and that was something fun to do. So we will be back here tomorrow. Again, because my schedule is under so much flux, I can't guarantee a time tomorrow, but I think we're going to do it at 3 because that seems to be a good time. And I am going to research tonight more things about the stimulus package so that we can talk about what's going on with families financially and businesses, because that's a big deal. So try to limit your amount of time watching the news, because it is very anxiety provoking. And reach out to all your friends and family, especially people that you know are alone. Maybe give them extra text messages and FaceTime calls. Stay close to each other. Stay healthy. Stay sanitized. Air hugs to everybody. I'm going to try to get Jimmy Jackson on here tomorrow to help me give us some great ideas on how to stay active during this shut-in, shut-down, shelter at home, whatever it is that we're dealing with. Hello to my family in Italy. I miss you guys. I know you're still quarantined. I think about you every single day, the Basile family. I hope that, I know you guys are all safe, and I know that Enzo, you had a new baby, and it's so beautiful. And so to everyone all over the world, whoever's watching, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Lydia, for contributing today. It was wonderful. And thank you for thanking me. I'm going to be doing these as long as you're interested in watching them. And check out I'm going to post the NBC News article about this reverend who is, I don't know, doing some sort of Bible study with the cabinet of the president, and not the president, not Trump, but his cabinet, and the hateful things he said. Shame on him. And he should be fired. If he were working for me, I would fire him. And I'm saying that because I read it in black and white. I'm not just taking it from what the news media said. I read it, and shame on him. But everybody else, stay safe, have a lovely day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.